That's right. That must mean it's time for some Sunday afternoon cat yoga with Baby Monster. I am Carlos, and if you're new, welcome. If you're a regular, thanks for coming back, and always a pleasure to practice with you. So, what's this? We're going to do the blocks today. I hope you have some blocks, and if you don't have some blocks, remember the old yoga books in the 50s and 60s would just say use an encyclopedia. Well, you're not going to be able to use your Wikipedia, but you might just want to, if you can't find anything and you don't have any blocks, then we'll just say hi, and maybe you can watch a different video, and then next time you're at Target or wherever, Costco, pick up a real cheap set of blocks, because they're no big deal. You don't need good ones or anything like that. And then you can keep this video as a resource so that you can learn how to do your blocks. I don't know if they come with instructions or what, but these are some of my favorite poses to use with the blocks, and it's the most beneficial poses to use with the blocks. And the blocks don't mean you're a beginner or anything like that, so don't worry about that. But they help everyone's posture. Oh, look at that. So we will start, as always, no blocks yet. I'm just going to, although some people, whenever they sit cross-legged, they sit on a block, but we will try that momentarily. But for our first warm-up, our camel ride will stay off the block. Okay, just so you can feel the floor better and just move freely. So before we get into that, we'll just grasp our feet, take a big deep breath, and exhale over and down. Relax here. On an inhale, you can use your arms to come up slowly. And we'll go into our camel ride. And if you're new, we exhale back and round the back. And then inhale forward and arch the back. And so if you're a regular, you know we do this just about every time. And each time it's your job to find something new in this movement, or go deeper into your body, raise your body awareness, right? Because remember, there's a lot of yogis that practice the exact same set every single time for 50, 75, 80 years, right? So it's not a prerequisite to have variety in your practice, but I happen to like a little variety. But that would probably, so for instance, Bikram yoga, same sequence. And not only that, I recommend you do it every single day. So turn your focus inward. So raise your body awareness. If there's anything that is beneficial about a home practice versus a group practice together, it's the fact that you can turn your focus really inward. You have, hopefully you've got fewer distractions. You have less inspiration of the people on your left and right and in front of you and behind you, but inspiring you to accomplish new things when you practice, but you can be much more meditative. And I've told you from the beginning of these videos, you can pause this at any time and go off into your own thing, or just meditate. That would be wonderful. So next time we come forward, I'm going to release my feet. I hope you stretched your toes and massaged your feet. And then place the hands lightly on the knees. We're going to go around in a circle with control. How about we'll go in one direction, stop, and then go in the other direction. So bring your hands to your heart. This focuses the movement in the core where it should be. Latest update with Baby Monster. She has reached an uneasy truce with the chickens. They're no longer chasing her around the yard as much. And what she does is she hides behind Banu and uses him as a shield because they don't bother him. So some people prefer this. So I'm going to go really deep inside so you might not even see anything happening externally. So baby looks relaxed, but her heart's just beating a million miles. She's panting. I don't know what she was doing before she came over here. I'm going to do this one more time with the arms overhead. Go back to here, more stable, but I do more work here, or I make a bigger movement, we should say. And then when you have the most stability, you go deepest down into the pelvic core, or the pelvic floor rather. Baby brought a fly in here with her. Okay, how about one more time around? Go way deep, pull up on everything in the floor of the pelvis. Okay, great. So refold your legs the other way. And now, or before you get them all tightened up, let's sit on our block. And so I don't know if it'll help for me to turn sideways, but we're not so this is me using the block as a stool, a little stool, and we're really not supposed to. You're supposed to be far enough forward on your block so that your knees, the pelvis rolls this way. But you can come too far forward. If you come too far forward, the back arches, right? And if you're way back here, then nothing happens. You may as well just be sitting on the floor. So you want a bit of a compromise, like right around in there. Okay, so now you can see my posture is just 100 times better than it was when I was sitting without the block. So I'm going to come back around. Oh, brother. So I hope that made sense. This shirt's kind of loose, so you can't really see what's going on with my spine. But anyway, so remember, this is not about comfort. It's about spinal alignment. So let's do our twist. This feels so much better. Let's do our twist from here. Deep breath and exhale. Inhale back to center. You can just feel the spine is longer. There's less tension required to hold me sitting upright. Yeah, this feels so much better. You guys got to get a set of blocks. Of course, if you use your blocks all the time, then you wouldn't know the difference. You wouldn't know that it feels any better. So it's kind of maybe good to use them sometimes and then other times not. So we'll hold this twist when we get out to the other side, but I'm so high up now that I don't want to reach down for the floor. That's the worst thing I could do. I want to keep my posture high and open, even if it means that I can't reach the floor. And if I can't reach the floor, I'm going to bring this hand around behind me and just wrap it around my core here. If your arms are long enough or you're flexible enough, this hand can come onto your hip, or if you're wearing baggy clothing, which doesn't seem to be popular in yoga, you can grab onto your clothing. Okay, on an inhale, we'll come back to our center point, twist around to the other side, not reaching down for the floor. That would ruin everything. Okay, so for some reason on this side I can reach this hip, but both sides are different. All right, on an inhale, come back to your center point and float the arms down. So as long as we're up on our block, we can try doing straddle or sitting straddle from up here on our block, and it's a slightly different thing that you'll be feeling. I think that the main benefit, don't try to be right on the edge of the block because that's not really going to work. But the main benefit in this case is really allowing the backs of the legs to open, the hamstrings, the calf. And of course, to do this, the foot has to be flexed. Remember, pointed is that, flexed is that. Okay, and then so this allows me to keep my back flat. Usually I relax the back when I do a forward bend, but there are a lot of poses where we don't round the back forward. So I'm going to keep my back flat as I walk my hands out my legs, and this is support to help me keep my back flat. So again, this may look like nothing is happening in this pose, but a lot is going on in this pose. Strengthening the back, stretching the backs of the legs. So I'm extending straight out through the crown point of the head to lengthen the spine. Keep the abs engaged. And then we will carefully walk back up. When you have a flat back, you put more tension in the lower back, so we have to come up more carefully. Okay, because we're not rolling up, we're planking up. So let's do our thunderbolts with the blocks. And as I've mentioned before, this might be what you've been waiting for, right? If you secretly hate these thunderbolt poses because they hurt your feet, this is your chance to, you're not cheating, but this allows you to do this pose more meditatively. So I'm going to go for 2 blocks. This is just like heaven. So now, yes, it's much easier. But now I could meditate here, which is actually the real reason that we're even doing this. So if you normally meditate in a cross-legged pose, maybe with your hands to your heart, now you could try this. You could do your meditation here. Of course, your shoulders will be screaming within a couple of minutes, but that can be part of your awareness to go into that, just move into that feeling and just really be aware of what's going on with your back and shoulders as you extend upward. So who knows how long we could go here. That's up to you to explore. We'll try curling the toes under. Again, now we don't have to be so quite well. See, I'm still off my blocks here. So in this case, yeah, okay. So now I have to go the long way, otherwise it doesn't do anything. Much more tolerable, more meditative. So we're feeling more, when our mind's not on our feet, you're feeling more energy run up and down the spine. And then, now today I can do the one that I can't normally do, curl the toes facing backward. And so now I can actually do this pose. Okay, so this is going to be me in 6 months from now with no block. All right, wonderful. So then we move on to another pose that you may secretly dread, which is our squats. And we squat all the time because squatting is not even really a yoga pose. It's just in other cultures, it's a preferable way of sitting. But in this case, tonight, I'm making a nice little stool for myself and come into your favorite squat. And so remember, with the garland, elbow between the knees, hands are together, and then when the hands drop, it pushes the knees apart. So now I can focus on things that I don't normally focus on. I can look up a little more. I can lengthen my back. So it becomes a whole nother pose. And of course, we could stay here longer, but in this case, we'll move on. So that's your squat. So let's go from here to our hanging forward bend. So what we're going to do with the block now is, if you can't normally reach the floor, then the only way you experience your hanging forward bend is to hang. And there's no feeling of connectedness. The main benefit of being able to reach the floor is you stop hanging and you get some stability here, right? You get to, so if you can't normally reach the floor, then use the blocks to press down, of course, with the backs of your legs straight. But then if you normally can reach the floor, no problem, then we're going to have some empathy and remind ourselves what it's like to not be able to reach the floor. Fold your arms and just hang here and remember what it was like before you could reach the floor. Okay, and then I think we're going to go, just for a second here, we're going to drop okay, let her do her thing. Okay, so we're going to emulate baby. We're going to see if I can come down into the pose that she's in real briefly, if you guys want to follow me. But I think she knows what we're doing. So this arm is curled. Her head is on this paw. So she's like this. I don't know if her eyes are open or closed. Up. Okay, she moved. Okay, so back up to hanging forward bend. So anytime she does a pose that we can emulate, she'll be leading the class, right? So we'll do this later. I'm not going to go back down there now. So we were in hanging forward bend. Let's come out into another straddle, this time up on our feet. And I don't think we need the blocks just right yet. Let's walk our hands over to one foot and bring the head over towards the knee. Walk your hands over to the other side. All right, great. So then bring your block to center, and we could try, if for any reason you're hesitant to lower your head all the way down to the mat, you could try lowering it down onto a couple of blocks. And we're not on our forehead, we're on the crown point of the head. It's pretty far to the back of the head if you can manage it, but anything is okay. And then if you're comfortable here, if you're stable here, you can grasp your ankles. All right. Let's slowly work our way back to center. I don't know if you can hear her, but she's purring like crazy. Well, I'll leave the microphone alone. So we will come up to standing using the fierce pose. If you remember the fierce pose, we press up, and I'm going to bring a block between my knees and press my legs together. So my feet are parallel to allow me to do this. I'm going to sink down, not all the way back down into our full squat, arms up, and then slowly press up. Let's take at least 6 breaths to do this. First one doesn't count. Press your knees together. You should feel that engages the core, engages the whole leg. So unfortunately, I rushed it. I'm more than halfway up, about 3/4 of the way up. I still have several breaths. Let's just stretch out this last one. So how about, I'm almost up to the top. How about one more big deep breath and then exhale the rest of the way straight up. So if you wanted to, you could pause the video and you could do that, and you could take maybe 5 minutes to come up just to see if you could do it. One of these days, I swear we're going to do that. So, oops, I dropped my block. Go back down for a block, and we will do we'll do a side stretch using our block, but we're not using the block for support. We're using the block the way we use a strap for the feeling of connectedness. So my feet are going to be about as wide apart as the block, and I'm just going to hold the block like this, not in a death grip, just with the palms together. So all I'm doing is just getting that feeling of connectedness. So there's no arm hanging out here, reaching. There's this nice connectedness, and we'll just do a simple side stretch. No big deal. I don't care which way you go. Take a deep breath, and on the exhale, extend up, slightly back, and then over, please. So up and over, slightly back, up and out and over. Breathing. So automatically that feeling of connectedness, it has, I feel a little more centered. I feel the stretch on my side is more even. It's not just in the rib cage. And on an inhale, I'm going to come back to center. Whenever you're ready, take another nice deep breath. And exhale, up and over. All right, on an inhale, I'm just going to reach out and then up, back to center. And then while we're here, how about a little back bend? Look up, pull that block back. On an inhale, back to vertical. And then without any back bend, just extend up as high as you can, straight up to the North Star. And then release down. Okay, excellent. We'll do one more pose, and then we'll break for a water break. So keep this block. And again, I'm not going to mention right or left because most likely you're just mirroring me. And if I mention right or left, then the hands are reversed. And I'm not going to turn away because it just doesn't look good in the video. But in class, I usually turn away. But anyway, we'll deal with it. So I'm turning both feet that way. And remember, this foot is in line here, and this foot's only maybe bent 45 degrees, right? So let's do our triangle. So if you So now that you know we're doing a triangle, you say, okay, I'm gonna maybe take a little longer stance here. And the block is if you can't normally get down to the floor and you hold your leg. So if you know how far you normally get, you'll adjust your block. Do you want it the short way, long way? But try it with some block, even if you normally get down to the floor. So I normally get down to the floor, but I'm going to try it like the middle way, just to feel the difference. Okay, it's right next to my foot. I'm going to put a lot of weight into that block and then look up at my hand. So this feels really good. Just my spine feels longer. There's not so much tension in the neck. Okay. And then when you're ready, then as usual, you could push up off this block. You could drop both hands down and push up. You could walk up your leg, certainly all those things. I'm going to reach up with this arm to bring me back to center. Big deep breath here. And then switch blocks. Turn both feet in the other direction. Look in that direction. Maybe adjust your stance. Do you want to go longer? Do you want to go shorter? What makes you feel good in this position? And then whenever you're ready, ease over and down. Take your time. When you get down there, put a lot of weight in that block, feel stable, and then think about looking up at your hand. So the blocks are especially good for if you're recuperating from something, and I'm recuperating from, God, my back is a mess, and my hip and my knee, I'm just a wreck. And so these blocks feel really good. It just so happens, though, we hadn't done the block set in a long time, but it was a happy coincidence because I really need a little assistance today. So again, you could come all the way down and walk back up, climb up your leg, or I'm just gonna reach this hand to this guy to come up. And then here we go. Can I do it? Can I jump in with such grace as to not disturb the resting cat? But before I do that, I'm going to open my chest, pull the arms back. Okay, can I do it? Ta-da! Her ear moved that much. Big deal. Okay, great. So take a break or not. You could jump right over to part 2 if you're doing a yoga marathon. Otherwise, I will join you shortly. I'll see if I can find a different cat. You know who. Thank you very much. See you soon.